Hello everyone and welcome back to Fast Guard News. I'm Dwight Gibson.
I'm Robert Payne.
And we want to talk to you about Firewatch. What is a Firewatch for those that don't know?
A Firewatch is a human being acting as a fire alarm. Simple as that. But more specifically, people that think they can do Firewatch on their own and then they call in on the 24th hour after, long days happen. That's what this episode is all about. It's all about how to prevent that from happening if it's going on, and what to do if you're stuck in that situation.
So essentially, let's call it a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
XYZ Hotel and Suites. The fire alarm system went down. And the fire marshal came by and said, okay, you guys need to go on fire watch. And the hotel manager, well, in this case, the hotel owner, well, I'm here. I don't need to call anyone to do the fire watch. I'll do it myself. All I have to do is walk around and fill out a log every 15 to 30 minutes or every hour, depending on what the fire marshal set it as. I'll handle it myself. Fire marshal says, okay. Leaves. I'll be back in 3 days to check on it. What now?
The first 12 hours are probably going to go pretty smooth. Once you get the feel for it, Firewatch is really not that hard. But, just like anything else, the day gets longer. And remember that the Firewatch is supposed to be a designated individual, not somebody just on site. So now you're designated to doing that job and only that job. You're not talking on the phone and checking people in. You're not leaving to go for lunch. You're there during that time. And then you need to be relieved. It's supposed to come from a licensed guard, from a licensed security company. But, owners have the power, hey, I'm going to do it. First 12 hours probably going to go by pretty quick. After that 12 hours is when you realize that even if you and your manager are going to tag team it, it's still taking you completely out of pocket during that time. And you have to walk the entire building. And lo and behold, if you're in a small town or if you're in a big town, they got a lot of fire marshals, or a small town that has one fire marshal that can't sleep, they'll come back by. And legally they can do that, come check up on you. If you're sleeping, if you're nowhere to be found, if the Firewatch log is not on site, you're toast. They could shut down your building and have it evacuated. It's not worth it. And we've talked to several people that I was up on the phone the other night with a guy. They needed a Firewatch. He was there on site, and we couldn't get anybody out. It was snowing. The weather was kind of crazy, and he was out. He was calling me every hour to get an update. And we were trying to get somebody there. Finally, we found somebody who can be there. He's like, man, you stayed up with me all night. I said, yeah, we've been up together. You got covered, right? The guys there said, yeah, man, I just want to go to sleep. I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to go in one of these rooms, go to sleep. But he was so happy that somebody came and relieved him, because there's people occupying the hotel and his responsibility. He was the manager. The owner told him he had to stay. You're not hiring anybody. Like I said, about 14, 15 hours in. By the time we got there, he'd already been there 24 hours. Yeah, he was already in the mix for that long. And so
So what is the fire like? For those that don't know, if the fire marshal comes back and is not pleased with what he sees, what can he do?
From 500 to 5,000. Or if you're dealing with a real nice guy, he's going to make you evacuate the building. That's what you don't want, because now if it's a hotel, you got to take all those people that were staying in your hotel and find them other hotels in the area, and now you need to pay for it because your building is not up to code. And they can put you on ice for a few days while they're coming back to re-inspect. And newsflash, people, fire, for whatever reason, fire panels, pieces for the fire suppression system, it's always like 2 weeks out, no matter when you order it. There's nobody that keeps those things like in a warehouse, apparently, because it takes a lot of time to get those every single time. It's not, we were down in Miami at that condo, a month or two? And they told them they was going to have it in a week. Or no, it would be done by Wednesday. it almost never happens.
Yeah.
So, just a word to the wise, have a plan, because if your plan is that you're gonna do it, just remember that's your responsibility. The life safety of the entire building, everybody standing on how 100 souls.
And what a lot of people that decide to do it themselves don't realize is you can't do fire watch and your regular normal duties. You have to only do fire watch, right?
Yeah, it has to be, you have to be designated to only do that. You can't do your regular duties when you jump out there and start doing it. Imagine if the fire marshal comes and your regular job is maybe, I don't know, cooking in the kitchen at the hotel. But they told you to do fire watch. They come back there and you're taking orders, and they come in, they don't see you conducting the fire watch. You're toast. It's not worth it. And you're putting people's life in jeopardy, because ultimately you're the first line of defense that the people have. Everybody sleep in the rooms. If the building burns down with them inside it, you're the one to blame. You're the only one that can stop it. So no sleeping, no doing other things, no leaving property. Unfortunately, that's the job. So call professionals. Don't attempt to do it yourself. I talk to a lot of guys. We're like an abuse hotline. A lot of guys are being talked off the issues, man. I've been out here 24 hours. Do you have anybody available? Yeah, we got somebody. Send them. Send them down. And it's like, well, sir, we got to go through the people. I don't take my credit card number. I've talked to people that's been at the edge, especially a lot of the smaller hotels and condos. We'll just do it ourselves. The neighbor upstairs is going to do it. You can't do that. These people are going to go to sleep, watch the TV. They're not security guards. So they're not even used to being up those odd hours like that. And if they are, they're not going to be walking up and down stairs to go check a building. So, there's buildings that you do that have 40 floors, 50 floors. You have to have one guard for every 4 floors. So, you could have a whole crew of fire watchers there. People seem to think that they call in and they said, fire marshal said we on fire watch. And I said, okay, well, how many floors is in the building?
22.
22. Okay, well, you need one for every 4 floors. No, he said one guard. I said, so what you're trying to say is that one guard will be able to effectively evacuate that entire 22 floors by stairs, because the fire alarms on the elevator don't work. They all come down to the floor. So by stairs, this individual will go up, the pull station's off, the building's completely offline. He gonna run up 22 flights of stairs and knock on every door. Hey, you gotta get out, you gotta get out. He's gonna burn to death. They're gonna burn to death inside waiting on him. It's not funny, but that's the reality. What is wrong with you people? Pay the money, pay for what you need, but listen to professionals when it comes down to it. We're not trying to juice you, I promise. It's hard trying to find one guard. It's even harder to find 10 guards, but if that's what you need,
right.
Does
the fire marshal typically, when he leaves instructions, does he leave them in writing or just verbal?
A lot of times they do. Believe it or not, funny as it sounds, a lot of fire marshals haven't had a whole lot of big city experience with fire watch. So I've heard fire marshals tell me, you're fine. You can watch it yourself. They didn't explain to them the rules and regulations, because they may not know themselves. They know that you're on fire watch. They know that you have to have somebody designated. But each state has their own set of laws that tells you a fire watcher needs to have this training. They need to have OSHA. They need to have this. They need to be a part of this association. They need to know how to work a pull station. They need to know how to work a fire extinguisher. There's a lot of requirements for a fire watch. We learned what we learned from New York. They're the hardest. They got a fire watch for everything. It's 300 licenses. It's crazy. But at the same time, if you do everything from the top, you take the absolute hardest state on fire watch and you model everything else after that, this is where you're going to have a level of success. We've never had a building burn down while we're doing fire watch. We never, if there was a problem, we called, remember the battery factory in California? One of our guards was Dwayne. The fire sparked back up. Oh, we got to evacuate the building again. It sucks because it ended the job for us, because once they evacuated, it's just over. But that's the reality. You want people out there paying attention, doing what's necessary on the fire watch. You don't want to hire the guy that's taking out the garbage. You don't know what the heck he's doing.
Right. Or what he's looking for.
Or what he's looking for. And so, hire a professional. Don't get caught up trying to do it by yourself. I get it. Nobody wants to spend any extra money. I'm not paying for that. Okay? Either you're going to pay for it one way or you're going to pay for it another. A lot of the hotels in Colorado and the ski towns right now, you know, during the wintertime, they're packed. And, you know, there's fires burning, there's a lot of fire hazards. A lot of the hotels have called us for fire watch, you know, because it's necessary to have somebody walking around. A lot of these hotels and ski resorts don't typically have security. Those are very, you know, nice areas. It's well off people. It's not like, but you need somebody watching the floor, making sure the place ain't burning down. Each room has its own fireplace. Think about the hazard in that. So it's better to be safe than sorry, and it's always better to call somebody else versus staying up 24 hours at a time.
Well, if you need fire watch, you can reach us online, www.fastguardservice.com, or by phone, 844-254-8273. We hope to hear from you soon. Thank you, and have a great night.
Have a nice one.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
It's Madness Money Mafia.
I just put up in the bins, all we do is set the trends. I'm allergic to these niggas choosing money over friends. Every time a nigga